Chapter 4. Being a stowaway, I was expecting to be thrown in a brig, deserted on the nearest planet, moon, or asteroid, or a part of me even thought they might just throw me into an airlock and eject me into space. In any normal situation, they probably would have. These guys were hardened space porters. Even people like me who lived in small towns nowhere near a port knew that you didn't tangle with them. What I didn't expect, however, was to be taken under their wing. The maintenance party that found me turned out to be two brothers, John and Alan, and their service droid AI-3X, affectionately known as Alex. Instead of turning me over to the captain of the freighter, they smuggled me back to their quarters, fed me, clothed me, and the next time we landed at a spaceport, introduced me to the captain as their godchild. The story they gave the captain wasn't entirely untrue. Having told them of what became of my home and what the Daleks had done, they decided that it was best to just stick with that story, but with enough exaggeration for the captain to believe they were now my only family. I don't think the captain was exactly happy with the situation, but during the week's docking period in which I helped with the ship's repairs, she seemed more than happy to keep me on after that. According to the word on board and the general state of disrepair I often found things in, it seems the good captain's insurance and maintenance charters may not have been as legal as they should have been. Not to mention that at least 2 or 3 times a year, we all received a bonus after ensuring safe passage for certain anonymous pieces of cargo. But all in all, it was a good life. I still had nightmares now and again about that terrible night. Some people didn't believe me, but John, Alan, and Alex always had my back. Once, someone reprogrammed their service droid to sneak into my quarters at night doing a bad Dalek impression. It wouldn't have been very convincing in broad daylight, but in the dark, waking from a nightmare, it's one of the most terrifying things you could experience. Alex deactivated and reprogrammed the droid, and the next day John and Alan did a little reprogramming of their own on the practical joker. No one bothered me again after that. However, people still regaled in hearing my tale. Not so much the tale of death, destruction, and Daleks, although that was part of it, but the tale of that mysterious blue box, and the man that saved my life. By this time the war had been going on for quite a while. Time Lords and Daleks alike hated or revered by many, but all with the reputation of being nothing but warmongers. Except the tales of that one Time Lord, searching for a way to end the war, peacefully, by any means. Some claimed to have met him before, or someone going by the name of Doctor. Others just wanted to hear the tale of his existence. Even if they never got to meet him, I think his tales, like the wheezing groan of that magnificent machine, gave them hope. As the years went on, however, we heard more tales, but not ones of hope. Tales of concern, of defeat, and death on an unimaginable scale. Places we'd never even heard of or meant nothing to us now became places we would never visit, whether because they were under Dalek occupation or because they had been utterly destroyed. Arcadia, Reshholm Petra, the star trench of Zeta Berberis. Once, to the great aching of my heart, I even heard the name of my own small moon settlement mentioned. More and more, we often found ourselves grounded in ports after rumours of Dalek fleets, some sent on recon missions, others gone rogue, ready to exterminate anything they came across. I think in any normal army, a battalion going rogue would be deeply frowned on, but for the Daleks they must have praised it as an initiative to reach the overall goal of becoming the single race of the universe. Then one time, after we had spent almost an entire month docked, with no sign of being let go anytime soon, the captain convened a meeting of the entire crew. This wasn't anything unusual, however this time it was more what she had to say that was unusual. It was no secret or surprise to any of us when she revealed she had a small smuggling business as a sideline. We'd loaded enough nondescript crates and boxes on board, often ones that never appeared in our shipping manifests, and then somehow managed to get through customs via the slip of a few credits. This time things were different. Not only did the captain tell us that we were in fact smuggling something, but that it was of the utmost security vital to the war effort. She never revealed what was in the crate, but given the overall thought on board was one hoping for peace, we were more than happy to do anything that might aid the war effort. We'd never asked questions before, and we weren't going to start now. If only we had. The first feeling of unease came to me the night after we left port. No one was really sure how we'd managed to get out, but we had an idea. Of a crew of 108, everyone's credit expenses had taken a 5-credit cut. No prizes for guessing from where those credits went. But as I lay in my quarters, I found myself unable to sleep, thinking back to loading the crate into the hold. Not only was it extremely heavy, but on each side was a red stamp. Some kind of symbol. Not one I could make any sense of, but one I was sure I'd seen before, or something similar. With quiet resolve, I decided to sneak out of my quarters and have a poke around the mysterious crate and see what I could find. Whenever we had any non-licensed goods aboard, the crew's quarter doors were always locked at night. However, seeing as one of my first jobs had been lock repair and maintenance, it wasn't the work of a few minutes to bypass the lock and alarms. Making my way through these secure doors to the hold, I could now hear the captain's voice. She seemed to be in the hold, talking to someone urgently, and in a slightly panicked tone, almost pleading. I made my way to the crane control room overlooking the hold below. Carefully leaning over the control panel, sure not to touch any buttons, I peered down into the hold. There was the captain, facing the shadowy corner of the hold where we'd left the crate. We usually left smuggled items in the back corners, less easy to spot if we were ever being inspected. In the low spotlights, I could easily see the captain. She appeared to be backing away from the corner, her hands raised as if in defeat. A single blue spotlight seemed to be emanating from the crate, and then I saw something that made my blood run cold. The flash of 2 white, bright lights either side of the blue one, and even before it emerged from the dark, I knew what we'd smuggled on board. The Dalek emerged from the shadows, approaching the captain. It was similar to the black Daleks I'd heard tell of, these often designated leaders, but this one was different. It was black in colour, but the plates adorning its midsection were gold, and the spheres on its lower half were a metallic grey-blue. Was this some kind of new black Dalek? A leader of leaders? Almost unable to move, I felt my trembling hands move to turn on the intercom so I could hear what was being said.
You have done well. I will call the rest of our units to this sector, and the Daleks will be in control ahead of the Time Lords.
The Dalek's voice boomed and echoed around the vast hold. The captain, however, crippled with fear, was barely audible to me as the Dalek advanced on her.
You have outlived your usefulness. Exterminate!
The captain screamed, and her figure became almost hollow as the burning light blast from the Dalek engulfed her, and she collapsed to the floor. The Dalek turned back to the crate it had come from, and in the gloom, I saw its arm extend to some kind of device.
Atomic device primed. Detonation in 2,000 rels.
Bomb or not, I knew that just one Dalek would be enough to kill the whole crew. My instinct was to run, but I couldn't leave everyone else to die. After a moment's hesitation, and without taking my eye off the Dalek, I slammed my hand down onto the alarm. Within seconds, the Dalek's head turned, followed by its body, its eye stalk raised towards me in the control box.
Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate.
I had to warn the others, John, Alan, Alex, the rest of the crew. There was no way we could save the ship, so we had to leave. As that same familiar sense of panic and fear I knew all too well gripped me, I ran. Unbeknownst to me at the time, as the freighter drifted through the vastness of space, alarms blaring, a battered blue box, tiny in comparison, materialized out of the vortex, hovered for a second, and dematerialized before reappearing deep within the engine room of the freighter.